really want to welcome you to my YouTube channel called Let's Take a Look at Life, where we discuss various issues that pertain to things we go through as humans and some of the chapters of my book and things I've been through, and I'd love to share that with you. Hi there, my name is Tanja and I really want to welcome you to my YouTube channel called Let's Take a Look at Life, where we discuss various issues that pertain to things we go through as humans and some of the chapters of my book and things I've been through, and I'd love to share that with you. And today is episode 6. I cannot believe that, and we are excited to roll out some more. So please subscribe and have a look at, if you want to leave some comments, etc. You're very welcome to do that. And if you have missed any of the previous episodes, they are on the playlist. You are welcome to catch up. Thank you so much. So, with the whole theme going, let's take a look at life. Just yesterday, I had a session with one of my good friends, and she was in a state, and she had found her husband in another woman's bed that morning. This is life. This is the real stuff that happens, and this kind of pain is really intense. So today we're going to look in this episode called betrayal, and we're going to try and just understand a little bit around that, because in my own life I have a chapter where I write about this very thing that happened to me as well, and therefore I totally understand and can be compassionate about the pain that one goes through when the person you trust, love, and really live for lets you down in the greatest of ways. And yes, she was in tears. I was in tears. It wasn't an easy thing to see her go through, and of course it brought back really big memories. But because of what I've been through myself, I could relate, and I could give some advice. And I just want to give some of this advice to you today for any one of you who might be going through this very devastating emotion. Betrayal is definitely not a modern thing, a modern experience. It has happened through the pages of ancient books, and I'm going to look at the Bible. If we look at way thousands of years ago, when Cain betrayed his own brother Abel, when Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, when Delilah betrayed Samson because of the strength he had, and when Jesus was betrayed by Judas. So betrayal is definitely not something that's modern aged. It is really something that happens in humanity. And because of that, I want to really just delve a little bit deeper into my own story as well, of how I experienced it and how I came out on the other side. Yes, definitely battered, bruised, and a little broken, but how God can help us recover from such intense emotional abuse or emotional pain. So, yes, betrayal hurts. It really, really hurts. I speak from a space of being betrayed around more than 10 years ago. So, and this was a betrayal within marriage, where many of us experienced this. And so I just want to share a little bit of how my journey went in this space and how I came out on the other side. I got married to my first love in 1996. We were young. We were completely at that age at the age of 23, you really do think you know so much about life. But little did we know we were really heading into a journey of a lot of growth and experience and understanding of the deeper side of life, the bigger responsibilities, etc. And hubby was working, I was working, and we were doing life together. And no, it wasn't always easy, which marriage is not always. And it was about 9 years into our marriage where we really hit a huge issue in our relationship. And coming out of that, my hubby landed up separating from me, and he moved in with another woman, and had already, begun divorce. And I just thought, okay, well, we're done. So whatever he's doing with his life, that's okay. And 6 months into him living with the other woman, he came back and wanted to mend our marriage. It was most certainly, my very first reaction was most certainly to say, there is no way that is going to happen. And, he can go on with his life and do what he has planned to do. And the very, very next morning, I had the most incredible experience. So in the end of the day, when he had come to me, I was really, really shocked about the fact that he had the audacity to go on a fling for 6 months and then come back to something which is so sacred as marriage. And however, the very next morning, it was around 4 a.m., and I'm a very good sleeper, thanks, I'm very grateful about that. But I was awakened by an audible voice saying, "Go back." I actually sat up straight in the bed by the sound of the voice, and immediately I knew that God had actually spoken, and this is not, something that is my decision, really, because I really trust and grew up to understand that obeying God at the end of the day is the best thing you can do. However, it wasn't easy. I actually cried very big crocodile tears because I thought of, I actually said to God, this is the hardest thing you've ever asked me to do. But I knew that if I didn't obey at that moment, because I couldn't deny what had happened that morning, that at the end of the day, things would turn out so differently, and I don't know where my life would go, because this was God speaking and giving me clear direction. And at the end, I gave him a call and we had a meeting. But interestingly, during the day, and you'll see it in my book, in the chapter, how God just gave me 3 confirmations during that very same day, unexpectedly, how he said 3 times, "This is what I need you to do." So by the time the evening came, I was certain that God had spoken to me, and I knew within my heart that I had to take him back. And that is when it all hit me. So obeying God isn't necessarily easy. It doesn't make it smooth sailing. In fact, I was a little angry because of the pain I then had to experience after realizing that my husband for 6 months had been with somebody else, and going back into that space of intimacy with him was excruciating. And I understood, that the word betrayal and the emotion betrayal is something that not many human emotions can really handle. It is a very, very deep, dark pain. Various other emotions obviously crept in, such as anger, resentment, rejection, jealousy, an incredible, intense jealousy, even of a person I had never seen or met. And suddenly I was comparing myself to her and wondering, is he comparing me to her in his mind? And it was a really terrible game. It was a mind game that I had to get to a place where I had to make decisions and switch off and make changes in thought patterns. But ultimately, the thing that had to happen for me to get to that point was a letting go, a forgiveness. And that in itself is something we cannot really work out within our own human flesh. It is beyond us. It most certainly was beyond me in the moments. And I had to cry out to God. I had to cry out to God for the help to get to that point where I could let go of what he had done to me, as well as a woman I had never met. And in the end of it, it was incredible how one day in a service, I was sitting really feeling sorry for myself and really going through really dark times. And suddenly, when the person in front was highlighting a scripture, it hit me like a ton of bricks. It says in 1 Corinthians 11, it speaks where Jesus was basically coming towards the end of the road, spoken of in the Gospels, and he was breaking bread and breaking himself really for us on our behalf so that we can be whole. And the scripture read this way: on the night he was betrayed, Jesus took the bread, broke it, and said, "Take this. This is my body, which is broken for you." And that word betrayed hit me so hard. All in all, if we just look at the bigger picture, pain is most certainly a very, very real aspect in humanity. It comes in various, trials, tribulations, pain, all kinds of things that we go through. And I, in that moment, realized that if he was busy forgiving us already in the moment of betrayal, continually deciding that he would go ahead and do what he came to do, I had to find myself able and willing to forgive and let go of what was done to me. And in a moment, it was like I really just had a revelation of this, and it just strengthened me within to be able to make that decision. It wasn't probably 2 days later that my husband and I were walking through town, and we walked past a lady, and instinctively I knew that this was the woman. And for the first time, we laid eyes on each other. We literally actually locked eyes for a brief moment and nodded as though we had known each other. And as we passed her, I said to my husband, "That was her." And he said yes. And it was incredible because the compassion that came over me in that moment for this woman was definitely not of my own. I understood that she had her own history. She had her own pain. She had her own things she was going through. And yes, she was a beautiful woman. And everything, all the negative emotions, the jealousy, the anger, all of that seemed to just fade away. And I was really, really so incredibly thankful and grateful that deciding that day to make that choice was really so relieving to me. And I'm so grateful that God was there to help me in that most difficult space. My advice to my friend was that she needed to just take a few steps back for perspective's sake and understand there are so many aspects in the play that she is really facing and that is actually happening around her. It does not make it right ever when someone hurts you in that way. In marriage, which is a very sacred place of intimacy, it is really, in the scriptures, one of the only reasons God really gives for us to pursue divorce, if that is our choice. It basically gives us the right to that. In my case, and that is not in everybody's case, but it was different in my case, we had never been pregnant as a couple up until our whole marriage. And up until the moment we got back together, within 3 months, I found myself pregnant, which to me was directly a reward from God in the obedience that I had gone through. And our little girl was born, and she's just been such a pleasure. And I just realized that little Jesslyn, my now 16-year-old Jesslyn, would not have been here walking the earth with the purpose she was created to be here for if I had not gone back that day. So I'm really eternally grateful that God intervened into my decision making and changed my the pathway for me. And yes, life continued and life did happen, and life is not perfect and marriage is definitely not, but we as people had grown in so many ways from that experience. And forgiveness is probably one of the biggest ways you can really gain maturity within your soul, within your emotional side, within your mind, within your spirit, because it is not something that comes by natural ways. And so yes, if you've been in this space and you've journeyed through these paths, or you maybe in the moment, at this moment, busy going through something really rough in this betrayal type of way, do know that the pain will be there and you need to embrace it. It's part of the package. But at the end of the day, you need to let go of the person that has hurt you. You have to let them go and allow yourself to be made whole again, because it is possible to regain the beautiful bonds that we had in marriage. It completely was restored, and that is all to God's glory, not by man's ability. So yes, I'm very thankful that I could share from my own experience today. I'm thankful because I understand, and I'm willing to, be compassionate, because it's something. If I read it in my book, it really comes back to life for me, and I understand that kind of pain. And as the chapter ends in chapter 6 of my book, it says, God has shown his faithfulness to me in many ways within the chapters of my life. I see them as monuments within my journey. Many times I think back of the hymn we sang at our wedding, which was, "Great is thy faithfulness." Another way he showed himself faithful is within the words of the next chapter. And as we page through the chapters of my life and go through the episodes and just looking at life, we can see that God is always in the mix of things. If we open our eyes to see him, and if we become aware of him, and he is right there to help us, mend the broken pieces. So may you just understand that in your pain right now, it is not easy, and it is real, and the emotions are rife, but His peace and His goodness and His faithfulness is right around you to take your hand and lead you from that place of crazy into a place of peace, order, and a good life that He has for you. So I just hope that this gives you hope in your moment and shows you that there is always light at the end of the tunnel. This is Tanja de Melon, and I'm so thankful you were watching this episode with me as I share portions of my life with you, and we just get real about life. This is my YouTube channel called Let's Take a Look at Life, and we are going to do that. We're going to dig a little deeper, and we're going to understand a lot of things a little better, and we're going to gain perspective together. And so thank you for joining this journey with me. Please subscribe to this channel. Please like and follow my other platforms that will be seen on the screen. I thank you so much for joining me in these sessions. Hi there, my name is Tanja de Melon, and I really want to welcome you to my YouTube channel called Let's Take a Look at Life, where we discuss various issues that pertain to things we go through as humans and some of the chapters of my book and things I've been through, and I'd love to share that with you.